A group of mercenaries is sent to a tropical island teeming with dinosaurs to collect blood samples from the giant reptiles. But in addition to the resurrected predators, they encounter a terrifying mutant created in a laboratory. The action of the film begins in 2008 on the tropical island of St. Hubert. There is a research laboratory where resurrected dinosaurs are studied. Neglect of safety procedures and a Snickers wrapper lead to an emergency situation, causing the staff to evacuate. One of the scientists doesn't manage to escape from the laboratory. Trying to help him, a colleague sees a Distortus Rex appear behind the unfortunate man, a result of the local geneticist's selective work. Resembling an oversized xenomorph, the monster devours the trapped scientist. The story moves forward 17 years. The resurrected dinosaurs could have spread across the Earth, but the harsh climate forces them to live in the tropical belt near the equator. Some individuals venture farther, like the giant that caused a traffic jam in New York. Martin, a representative of a pharmaceutical company, meets with Zora, an expert in covert operations. He wants to hire the girl for a not entirely legal operation, but she refuses for her own reasons. Nevertheless, Martin manages to convince her with the promise of a fee that would allow her to never work again. But for successful completion, they need a civilian specialist, paleontologist Henry, who is being fired from the museum. Martin explains that their task will be to obtain blood samples from 3 giant dinosaurs: aquatic, flying, and walking. This will help doctors create a medicine that prevents heart diseases. The company will make a lot of money, as will the mercenaries if they return alive. The girl and the paleontologist agree. The whole group flies to Suriname to charter a boat from Zora's old acquaintance, Duncan. Among the crew is a security specialist. Although his name is Bobby, everyone knows that it's Francis. After discussing the details of the difficult task and admiring the jaw of the caught dinosaur, the team continues their journey. The mercenaries head towards St. Hubert Island for the first sample from the aquatic mosasaur. On the way, they inspect the equipment, syringes for collecting blood samples. The latter not only can absorb DNA but also shoot the capsule upwards so that it then descends by parachute. The paleontologist volunteers to shoot at dinosaurs with a rifle, but Zora, taking him to the bow of the ship, shows that from such a position, even seasoned shooters lack accuracy. At the same time, Ruben Delgado's yacht is hanging around in the same area. The man went on vacation with his daughters Teresa and Isabella, as well as Teresa's boyfriend Javier. They see the crests of a pair of Spinosauruses and then they encounter a Mosasaurus. The giant, playfully splashing in search of prey, casually capsizes the yacht. Javier ends up trapped in the cabin when the boat overturns. Ruben tries to save the young man and then ends up on the bottom with his daughters. Javier, thrown off by the mast, surfaces at a distance and paddles towards them as the mosasaur chases him. The guy barely manages to reach the boat, forcing the reptile to turn away. In the evening, the mercenaries' vessel receives a distress signal from the shipwrecked Delgado family. They are surprised, as swimming is prohibited in this area, but they decide to go to help, despite the mission's secrecy and disagreements on this issue among the crew. After some time, Duncan's boat finds the overturned yacht and the unlucky tourists are brought on board. The mission continues. The mercenaries track the mosasaur to take a blood sample. During the confrontation, Zora runs to the bow with a rifle, asking Henry to secure her with ropes. The cunning beast dives, raising a wave, causing the girl to miss. Then the dinosaur cuts the vessel and Zora falls overboard, but the timely safety line holds. When Henry pulls her up, she shoots at the target. After the hit, the syringe fills with blood, shooting upwards, and the sailors catch the parachute with the capsule. However, reaching the island turns out to be not so simple. Spinosaurus, which hunt together with the elder Mosasaurus, surround the boat. Bobby tries to drive the beast away with gunfire, but achieves the exact opposite result. The animals attack him and take a prehistoric bite. After that, the dinosaurs rock the boat, causing it to tilt. The passengers almost fall into the water, where hungry predators swarm. Ruben barely manages to save Isabella from the giant teeth. To shake off the tailed lizards, Duncan steers the boat towards the coastal reefs, hoping to catch them there. Fearing they might crash, Ruben orders Teresa to send a distress signal over the radio. Martin, concerned about the mission's success, asks the girl not to disclose their coordinates to anyone. The argument between them leads to Teresa falling overboard. The pharmacist is in no hurry, helping her, hoping that this way the conflict will resolve itself. However, as soon as Teresa falls into the water, her boyfriend Javier jumps in after her. Ruben, suspecting something is wrong, also leaves the boat with his younger daughter. The boat moves towards the rocks when the mosasaur attacks it, damaging the sides and scraping against the shore. The crew disembarks into the sea. Only Duncan remains at the helm. Unable to slow down, he and the boat fly onto the beach of St. Hubert. Soon, the other members of the expedition arrive there with the cargo. When a woman from the crew is grabbed by a Spinosaurus, the mercenaries realize this is not Sochi. They are not welcome here, but they have a mission that must be completed. Zora reminds her upset colleagues about this, also informing them that in 24 hours, a helicopter she hired will come for them. However, it will land on the other side of the island. After cutting the steel cable that separates the beach from the rest of the island, the girl leads the team into the jungle. On the way, Zora asks Martin how it happened that Teresa fell overboard, and he didn't even try to help her. The pharmacist denies the vile accusations against him. Meanwhile, the group moves waist deep through the swamp. Later, while filling a flask in the river, Martin notices dog tags in the water. They fell from the pilot stuck in the branches above the helicopter. Noticing the pilot's service pistol, Martin carefully takes the weapon. The Delgado family with Javier swims to the shore, where they climb onto the island through a grotto. They also venture deeper into the thickets away from the shore, but noticing movement in the bushes, they change their route. Settling down for the night, the guy volunteers to keep watch. When he goes to gather firewood, Isabella sees a small Aquilops dinosaur that came to the people in search of food. The girl feeds it until it lies down to sleep next to her. Meanwhile, Javier goes to relieve himself, not noticing that a pair of velociraptors is hunting him. The guy is saved from being eaten by a pterosaur that swoops down on the hunters, deciding to snack on them. In the morning, Zora's group, walking through meter-high reeds, encounters a couple of titanosaurs. Being herbivores, the reptiles pay no attention to the people scurrying at their feet, especially since their mating season is in full swing. Thanks to this, their species has reproduced quite well in the area. Taking advantage of the moment, Zora pulls out a rifle and obtains the second necessary blood sample. Now they just need to get the DNA of a flying Quetzalcoatlus. Delgado, making their way through the jungle, slides down the mountainside directly to the riverbank. On the other bank, Teresa notices a small pier and a landing craft. Deciding there might be something useful inside, the girl wades across the river. On the shore, she sees a partially eaten dinosaur corpse being feasted on by a Dilophosaurus. The creature gets aggressive towards the girl but, frightened by something, runs away. The cause of the fright was a Tyrannosaurus Rex dozing in the grass nearby. Trying not to wake the predator, Teresa sneaks into the vehicle where she finds a backpack with an inflatable boat. Pulling it out, she activates the boat, but at that moment the Tyrannosaurus wakes up. While the dinosaur, still groggy, drinks water as if it celebrated World Extinction Day yesterday, Teresa paddles to the other shore to pick up her family. However, as they sail away, the Tyrannosaurus wonders what tasty thing is floating there. The giant starts chasing, diving deeper into the water. Although it's not aquatic with its size, that's not its problem. Catching up with the fugitives, he flips the boat with a blow of his snout, causing the people to splash in the river's current like meatballs in soup. The Tyrannosaurus tries to fish them out of the water, but they cunningly dive, continuing to swim further. Reaching a narrow passage formed by rocks, they realize that young Isabella is still in the water. The girl swims under the overturned boat. The Tyrannosaurus, realizing this is all that's left, grabs the boat with its teeth. Deprived of cover, Isabella swims further to reach the narrow passage, where the predator's head simply cannot fit. Disappointed, the reptile leaves in better spirits, and the people are left with an intact boat. She squeezed through the gorge, and even the strong current didn't carry her away. Zora's team is climbing to the top of the mountain to descend on ropes to the Quetzalcoatlus nest. While Martin and Duncan stand guard above, the girl, Henry, and the last surviving member of Duncan's crew go down. Reaching the cave in the rock, adorned with traces of an ancient Indian civilization, the people find the nest of the flying reptile. Since it's easier to take a DNA sample not from the huge aggressive predator but from a harmless egg, they simply draw some liquid from the clutch into a syringe. During the process, Zora asks how their mission will help humanity. Henry admits that the pharmaceutical company will just make a lot of money from the medicine, and to help all people, they should give the samples to those who won't patent the research, making it public domain. However, the scientific research is interrupted by the return of the displeased mother. Although she is not an unshaven huss, used to be CNBSC a DSTS DST. Jik, but the bird still doesn't like someone touching her eggs without asking. They have to dodge the predatory beak while trying to save the capsule with samples. A precise throw of a crew member's hammer distracts the animal but puts the extra at risk. He tries to climb up with Duncan's help, but Quetzalcoatl, like Spider-Man, sneaks up the sheer wall to eventually devour the unfortunate fellow. Meanwhile, Henry nearly falls out of the cave due to the tension of the rope. Zora tries to pull him out, but the man notices the syringe with samples. Trying to reach it, he swings on the rope, which frays against the rock and breaks right after the capsule launches upward. The paleontologist falls down, but since he is not just some extra from the boat crew, the trees below cushion the fall to an acceptable speed. Next, the sample descends on a parachute, along with the surviving colleagues who found a ladder from the top to the very bottom. At sunset, the Delgado family arrives by boat at the research base, where mercenaries also arrive, having collected a triptych of necessary samples. Martin explains that experiments to create mutant dinosaurs were conducted here. The two groups meet in the parking lot, where Teresa tells how Martin wanted her to drown. The conversation escalates into an argument, but the fact that the pharmacists have weapons nullifies the conflict, especially since the man simply suggests that everyone leave together on the helicopter promised by Zora. The tedious wait for evacuation is disrupted by several mutated pterosaurs. Due to their attack, people are forced to split up. The Delgado family hides in a store. Martin and Zorro crawl under a car, while Duncan and Henry find an entrance to an underground bunker. Isabella notices an equilobe, which was following them, and feeds it, while a pterosaur breaks through the store's roof in search of a fresh snack. The girl hides from the reptile in a refrigerator, covering the glass with a jacket. When the father, having thrown a snack, distracted the predator, she reunites with her family, after which they quickly hide in the sewers. In the bunker, Duncan studies the map of the complex, thanks to which he learns that there is a boat at the pier. Through the broken roof, they see an approaching helicopter, after which Duncan tells the paleontologist to hold the transport until he gathers everyone, not noticing the mutant Distortus Rex lurking outside. At this time, Martin, having emptied a pistol magazine into the pterosaur, finds the keys to the jeep and drives away with the blood samples, leaving Zora and the others behind. Hiding in the bushes, the mercenary sees the pterosaur climbing into the sewer system. Realizing that civilians are hiding there, the girl follows. Henry, on the helipad, signals the pilots with flares. The helicopter is coming in for a landing, but it is suddenly grabbed by the Distortus Rex, tearing it open like a can. The scientist runs back to Duncan, who has found Delgado in the sewer. They are all hiding in the underground tunnel. Duncan talks about a boat at the pier, after which they head there through the tunnels. Martin is also heading there in a jeep. Zora encounters the others in the sewer and shoots the mutant pursuing them, killing it. Then they reach the tunnel exit, blocked by a grate. Isabella squeezes through the bars to open the gate from the outside, but then a six-legged Distortus appears. However, the lizard's attention is distracted by Martin's jeep. While the predator deals with the pharmacist, the people run to the pier. Grabbing the suitcase with samples, all that remains of Martin, the girl runs after them. While the people try to launch the boat on the mechanism that has jammed over the years, the Distortus catches up with them. Duncan, recalling the first movie, decides to distract the predator with a flare. Waving it, he lures the mutant away, diving into the water. While everyone boards and starts the boat, Zora watches as the flame extinguishes in the night. Her last friend sacrificed himself. The survivors in the boat sail away just as the Distortus Rex returns to snack on them. The beast growls in disappointment, having missed its prey. With a face like that, what else is there to do? It turns out that Duncan survived, having escaped from the predator. Taking him, the survivors head out to the open sea, away from the dinosaurs, closer to the mainland, accompanied by a pod of dolphins. In the dawn light, Henry asks Zora what she will do with the blood samples she obtained. The girl says they need to be made public property, so that everyone on Earth can receive the medicine. The film, unlike the milking of the franchise, ends here.